Welcome to Chris Cook for You Too. Today I'm going to be preparing smothered turkey wings. I'm only going to use the flat portion of the turkey wings, and I'll show you the difference in the two in case you really don't know. And I'm going to serve it over a bed of chicken flavored rice and peas. That should be really, really good because when I smother the turkey wings, I'm going to add a thick gravy to that, and that should make it taste oh so good. So let's get started with the ingredients that we're going to need to prepare what I think is this delicious dish. Here is my turkey wings. I'm only using the flat portion. Now the flat portion, you see how it looks? The drum part is exactly that's attached to the wing. It looks just like the drumstick of the chicken, or it looks like the drumstick of the turkey. I'm only using the flat portions, so I wanted you to see what it looks like. And I'm also using the little wing clip. Okay, I'm using those. Now, you may wonder why is it I have it in this water and I just didn't show it to you. Because this is salted water. And what it actually does is it pulls the blood out of the turkey parts, the chicken parts, all of that. Some people prefer to clean it with lemon juice. You can do that. I mean, a lot of people do it that way. You can do it that way. But I've found in my cooking time that using the salt, which is something that everybody pretty much has in their home and you don't have to buy it, it will draw that additional blood out of it. So I use it for about 30 minutes prior to me cooking any kind of wing parts, whether it be turkey or it be chicken. So let's get started with the ingredients that you're going to need. Now, of course, I want my turkey wings to be browned, and I'm going to put them in a 350 degree preheated oven. So you can go ahead and start your oven now. I'm going to coat them with olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you can use canola oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, whatever kind of oil that you have. This is going to give me the pretty brown color that I need for my gravy. Now, if you want to just if you want to braise it, you can do that too. You can braise it on all four sides, and then you can go ahead and make your gravy. But this will give it a prettier tint to it. So I'm going to use that. The seasonings that I'm going to use, and I'm going to mix them while I'm doing this, I have about 8 or 10 turkey flats, and you know they're big. You don't want them super big, but you do want them about the size that you would get them if you just buying a pack of turkey wings in the store. But you don't want those gigantic ones that will come on your turkey because that's too big. I'm going to use a half of a teaspoon, and of course I'm eyeballing mine. You don't have to eyeball yours. You can go ahead and use your regular measuring spoon. I'm using a half of a teaspoon of chili powder. I'm doing the same thing, a half a teaspoon for my smoked paprika. I love thyme on dishes like this. I'm going to use a half a teaspoon of that. What I don't have sitting out here, but I'll tell you because I'm going to get it when I go away, is poultry seasoning. Poultry seasoning is good on any poultry, whether it be chicken or it be turkey. So you need you some poultry seasoning. That just brings back that flavor of that turkey real good. I'm doing the same thing with a half a teaspoon of pepper and a half a teaspoon of salt. Now, if I don't use all of this, I will use it in my gravy because that's when I'm going to add some additional water to it, which is going to dilute my seasonings down. So I want to build it back up. Then I'm going to use a full teaspoon. I like garlic. So I'm going to use a full teaspoon of garlic. And I'm going to use a full teaspoon of onion powder. Now I'm also going to shred up some onions. And I'm going to put that on top. But I'm going to put it on top at a different part of the cooking process. So I'll just slice them up and I'll show it to you when I get ready to do it. Okay, my daughter was so kind. She went and got the poultry seasoning for me, which is a good thing. So here's my poultry seasoning, and I'm going to add a half of a teaspoon of that. Now I did a half a teaspoon of everything that I used, and then we'll recap on the ingredients that I used for the seasoning. I used garlic, onion, thyme, salt and pepper, chili powder, and smoked paprika. Now you don't have to use the ones that I use. You can always use the ones that suit you best. But that's what I use, and if you want to make it exactly like I'm doing it, that's what you will do. Now, I'm going to mix this up. The only thing that you don't see down here is my onions, and I may put just a little bit of carrots in here just to give it some additional flavor, but I'm down a ways from that, so I won't worry about it right now. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to get all of my wings to be washed. I'm going to wash my flats. Then I'm going to coat them with the olive oil, and after that I'm going to season them up, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you just before I pop them into the oven. And I'm going to cook this open face, which means I'm not going to add the aluminum foil. Why am I not adding the aluminum foil? Because I don't want it to simmer or to steam. I want it to roast. So I'm not going to add the aluminum foil so I can get my color. And then once I get my color, then I'll come back and I'll add a covering to that, and that's when we'll add my gravy. Now I know that this is going to be oh so good, so let me go away, get myself prepared, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back, and I've oiled up these turkey wings, the flat portions, and I have just one more that I want to do, and I'm going to do that in front of you all. I know a lot of you may know how to do this, but all you do is have whatever oil you're going to use, and then you just make certain that you saturate your wing with that oil, and then you put it in your pan. Now, if you can, if you have room enough to put all of your turkey flats in one pan, then do it. You really don't want to overlap them. I don't have enough for two pans. I just have enough for one pan, so I just used it as best I could. But you don't want to overlap them, because when you overlap them, then they take a little longer to brown, and they will not brown evenly. So you want to kind of stretch them out in the pan as much as you can. Now I'm going to allow these to cook for an hour to get my brown tint. Maybe a little bit longer than an hour, but once I get a brown tint on one side, then I'm going to turn it over. What I did was I pre-oiled my pan up lightly with the olive oil, and then I put it on my parts of turkey wings. Now the seasonings that you saw me mix together, I'm going to go ahead and put them on. Now all of the seasonings that I don't use in this pan, then I'm going to use when I get ready to put my gravy in here, because by me adding more liquids, I'm going to need more seasonings. So I'm going to pick this up, and I'm just going to cover it. Put it back. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to cover it and put it back. Now, what's causing my seasonings to stick to my meat so well is because I pre-oiled them. And whenever you do that, that's going to cause whatever you're putting on there, it's going to cause it to stick just a little bit better than it normally would have had you just dried it, so to speak. Okay. Now, don't sell that piece of meat short, because that's a good piece of meat. I know a lot of people will cut it off because they don't want to deal with it, especially with chicken. But it's a good piece of meat. It has a lot of flavor in it. It's going to add flavor down on my turkey flats. Okay, so now that I have these all seasoned up, I'm going to go ahead, leave them open face, put them in my oven, cook them for an hour, maybe a little bit longer. I'm going to only turn them one time. That's when I see the tint on this side. Then I'm going to flip it over and get my tint on the other side. I'll bring you back at the end of that process, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like before we add the onions and we add the liquids to make the gravy. I may just slice up a couple of carrots and put down over here just to give me a little bit more extra flavor. But that's just small slices, and you'll see it when I bring it out. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I've already started to cook the rice, and I just want to show you what I'm doing. I added this is a cup and a half of rice. And for a cup and a half of rice, you need 3 cups of water, because the ratio for rice to liquids is going to be 2 to 1. So for every 1 cup of rice, then you would add 2 cups of liquid, whether it be the chicken broth, which is what I should have used, but I'm using water, or it be the regular water. Now to that, I'm going to add some chicken base, and that's just to give me more of a chicken flavor. I'm going to add 3. There it is. Let me make it so you can... There it is. I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of this. And this is just going to give me the chicken flavor that I want. At the very end of this process, then I'm going to go ahead and add some green peas to this. Because I want a green peas and rice combo on the bottom of my turkey wings. So there you have it. This is some salt in here, butter in here, and it's the chicken broth along with water, but you can use chicken base if you choose. I'm going to tilt that top, bring this up to a boil for 15 minutes, turn it down on low, put the top all the way on it, let it cook for 15 minutes, then I'm going to cut it off, let it just sit there. When you get through, you should have the perfect rice. I do have a rice recipe online, so you can check that one out if the need be. So I wanted to show you how I was doing the rice, and I'll be right back. See how it's beginning to simmer? Then I'm going to let it cook for maybe about a minute longer, and then we'll put the top all the way on. Be right back. Okay, now I'm back and my rice is ready. So I want to show you what I'm going to do with my rice. I'm just going to take my can of peas undrained. My rice is done and it's already turned off. So undrained, I'm going to pour my peas in with my rice. Now, why did I do it undrained? I did it undrained so that the flavors of the peas from the liquids can absorb into my rice. Okay? So that's why I did it. Now, you don't have to cook these peas. The heat from the rice is going to cook the peas. Okay? So we don't have to do any cooking at all. We're just going to mix it up. Okay. That looks good. Okay, that's all we're going to do. That's all we need to do. Now remember, your peas, they're already cooked in the can. So the little bit of heat that's still remaining in your rice, that's going to cook the peas or warm the peas up so that it will, and the peas will infuse the rice. Hope you understood just what I just said. But it's an easy process. Just go ahead and mix the peas in with the rice. Don't remove the liquids. And then once you do that, put your top back on and allow it to sit until the rest of your meal gets done. So that's it for my rice, and I'll be back when I'm ready to turn my turkey wings the first time. Be right back. Okay, now I'm back, and I'm going to take my wings out and look at the color. Now I want the same color on the other side, so what I'm going to do, and they stayed in really for about an hour. So what I'm going to do is, see this side here, and see that side does not look like this side. So I'm going to flip this over so I can get a tint on that side. Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. Let's stick my hand in hot stuff all the time. So, and I'm catching it on the end, so that's not really bothering my hand. Okay, now I want this side to get just like that other side. So it's at this point I'm going to go ahead and put these carrots down there. See how fine I have my carrots cut? I'm going to go ahead and put these carrots down here. Now there's a little bit of juice. I'm going to try to show you this juice. See? But I don't need to mix it. And the reason why I don't need to mix it, because it'll mix itself when I put in my liquids for my gravy. Now I'm going to stick this back in my oven and I'm going to let this side cook. Here I have some water. You don't have to use as much as I'm using, but I need a lot of water. Now to this water I'm going to add just a little bit, about a tablespoonful of carnation milk. Why am I doing that? Because I want creamy gravy. Now you can get creamy with just using water, but you can't get the taste of creamy, not unless you put a little bit of milk in it. So there, I'm going to add that. Remember my leftover seasonings? I'm going to put them in there. And here is 2 heaping tablespoons of flour. I'm going to put that in. Now I'm going to stir this, but I'm not going to pour it in yet. I'm going to wait until I get that brown color that I'm looking for, and then I'm going to pour this in. Now why am I doing it so early? Because I want all of my seasonings to dissolve. And I want my flour to dissolve over in this water. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. It takes about 30 more minutes because it's partially brown. So it takes about 30 more minutes for it to go ahead and brown complete. So I'm going to put this back in my oven and let it brown on that side. Now I've already cut up my onions. And see how I sliced my onions? When I bring it out to put my gravy on it, then, or my liquids for my gravy, that's when I'm going to add my onions. And when it gets through cooking for the next 30 minutes, it will be really, really good. So I'm going to put this back in my oven, and I'm not going to put a top on it. I'm going to let it go ahead and brown. Then once it browns, then I'm going to add the onions, add the liquids, and put a cover on it. Let it cook for 30 more minutes, and we should have really, really good creamy gravy, and the turkey should be like I want it to be. So I'll be right back in 30 minutes. All right. I'm going to take this out. I know this is hot. There. Hot to my hand. Alrighty. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my onions all in. And I got a lot of them. It's now that I didn't show you, but I'll show you now. See, my meat is tender. I can fork break it. See, it's tender. So now all I want to do is to just cook my gravy. So I'm gonna go ahead. Now all of the liquids that you saw, they're gonna mix in with this. And I told you I wanted a lot of gravy, so there. Put a lot in there. Okay. That's just a little bit of the residue that was left down over into the container. I want to make sure that I get it all. Alright, now I'm going to put this back in for the last 30 minutes. And when I bring it back, this should be ready. Now it's at this point that I'm going to go ahead and cover it. Because now I want my gravy to pull my meat off the bones. And now it's really going to smother my meat. Okay, so that's it. Put it back in and I'll be back in 30. Okay, now I'm back. So we're going to take this out. It's hot. And we're going to see how it came out. Okay, there you go. So what we're gonna do, let's just take a look. You'll have to, I'm gonna remove this one so I can stir that gravy just a little bit. Take out 2. See what I was talking about with the gravy? See how it gravied up? That's all my onions and my carrots and stuff down over in there. So what we're gonna do, and what I had a taste for, and you want to mix it just a little bit, because remember I didn't mix it when I made it. Okay, so what I want to do, and look at it, that's fall off the bone tender. Cutting that with a spoon. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put just a little bit. I've already eaten some because we've had dinner. So I'm gonna put some of my rice and peas down on the plate. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take, I take this, well, yeah, I can take this one. It's so fall off the bone, but that's what you're gonna get when you make the gravy to it. And I'm going to lay this right across my plate. And on top of that, here are my carrots and my onion. And there you go. And this is what I really had a taste for today. And I said, as long as I'm going to be making this, let me go ahead and make it for everybody. There you have it. Chris is making rice and peas with turkey wings, the flat portion of the turkey wings. And I topped it with some gravy, some carrots, and some smothered onions. Now that's really a meal. And I'm going to pull this bone just to show you how tender this actually gets. Look. Now that's tender. It's my little end of the bone. There. Okay. And if I want, I can always just add just a little more gravy down to this. Look at that. That's a meal. That's a meal. All I need is a biscuit. So, that's what Chris is having for you today. I wanted to show you how to do that smoky turkey and smoked turkey. And what happens when you're limited with funds, you can always get you some turkey wings and turn those turkey wings into a fantastic meal. I want to tell all my viewers, please remain safe. And as always, thank you for watching Chris Cook For You Too. Bye.